post it in the chat box. And first we will discuss what we have already posted. Hope you have go through it, and then we will answer the query of you. First of all, examination of newborn. It is very important, and we should go in a systematic way so that we should not miss any obvious anomaly. First, when to examine the baby. You will learn from the NRP class that immediately after delivery, we have to keep the baby with mother, and there should be a skin-to-skin contact, uninterrupted skin-to-skin contact for 1 hour, and initiation of exclusive breastfeeding. To facilitate this, we should delay this thorough examination for 2 hours. Then we should go for the thorough examination. And every day we have to examine the baby, and obviously before discharge also we have to examine the baby. Now, when we examine, to remember all the point, we go from head to foot. Now, what we should examine in the head. In the vault, there are cranial bones and few sutures and fontanelles. There is anterior and posterior fontanelle. Posterior fontanelle may be closed or only admit the tip of the finger. Anterior fontanelle is open and of various size. Generally, its diagonal diameter is 2 to 2.5 centimeter. There may be some change in the shape of the head, mainly due to molding during delivery. And there may be caput succedaneum due to prolonged labor, or some cephal hematoma. It may be due to some birth trauma. Now, coming to the eyes. In the eyes, we have to look for whether the eyes are normally situated or there is any hypertelorism or any slanting of the eyes. Then we have to check whether there is any clouding in the eyes, corneal clouding. It is best observed with ophthalmoscope. We have to check for the red reflex. If we see through a ophthalmoscope from 15 to 20 centimeter distance, then we can appreciate a red reflex. Presence of this red reflex rule out any obstacle in the refractory media. That is, presence of congenital cataract, any retinal detachment, retinoblastoma, etc. Then coming to the ear, in the ear we have to observe for any preauricular pits or any skin tag or any pinna abnormality or low set ears. In the neck, we have to observe for any waving of the neck that is present in the Turner syndrome, Noonan syndrome. Then in the extremity, we have to check for the any breach in the bone that may be due to birth trauma leading to fracture, and any obvious anomaly like polydactyly, etc. In the trunk, we have to palpate for the apex beat. If apex beat is situated in the right side, it may be due to dextrocardia or dextroversion, or may be due to shifting of the apex to the right side, that may be due to pneumothorax. Then we have to check for the, sorry, I have missed the mouth cavity. In the mouth cavity, we have to check for the cleft lip and cleft palate. Cleft lip is well perceptible, easily perceptible, but sometimes there may be some isolated cleft palate in the soft palate, and that is often missed. So we have to put a gloved finger in the mouth to palpate for the palate to rule out any posterior cleft palate. Next, coming to the abdomen. In abdomen, important thing is umbilical cord. We have to observe for the umbilical cord, because if we didn't examine the umbilical cord immediate after birth, then it will shrink and we will not be able to examine in later. We have to check for whether there is 3 vessels or not, 1 umbilical vein and 2 umbilical artery. If instead of 2 umbilical artery, there is 1 umbilical artery, it indicates there may be some congenital renal abnormality. So this is very important. Next, we have to check for the back. In back, you know that there may be some meningomyelocele. But meningomyelocele is easily perceptible. You can easily observe it. But if there are some occult cord defect, then it may be missed. So we have to check for the back very well. Now, genitalia. In the genitalia, we have to check whether there is any ambiguity present or not. And also the anal opening. Anal opening is very important, because even today we see sometimes it is missed, and if there is imperforate anus or any anorectal malformation, it may be life-threatening if not managed immediately. And generally in the later stage, we have to examine for any features of congenital dislocation of hip by Ottolani and Barlow maneuver. For respiratory and cardiovascular system examination, we have to count the respiratory rate. If respiratory rate is normal and there is no chest retraction or grunting, then the baby's respiratory system likely to be normal. And also we have to auscultate the heart at least once. But remember, if there is any murmur, it is not mandated that baby has some congenital heart defect. So even in normal baby, there may be some benign murmurs. And if you didn't listen to any murmur, that does not mean that baby don't have any congenital heart disease. So murmur may or may not be present in heart disease or without heart disease. Now, coming to gestational age assessment. For gestational age assessment, best way to assess the gestational age is from the first day of last menstrual period, if the menstrual cycle is regular. So, history is very important. And if menstrual cycle is irregular and proper history of LMP is not available, then we can have a good information from first trimester USG. After birth, we can assess for gestational age by some physical and neurological criteria. Together with this physical and neurological criteria, there is a scoring system. It is called Ballard scoring. Ballard scoring is now modified and it is now new Ballard scoring. New Ballard scoring is modified to assess the extremes of gestational age. In new Ballard scoring, there is score from -10 to +50, and we can assess gestational age from 20 weeks to 44 weeks. To assess for gestational age postnatally, there are some transition after birth, so we avoid this examination up to 24 hours. So it is done at 24 hours of age up to 7 days of age. In Ballard scoring, there are 6 physical criteria and 6 neuromuscular criteria. You have to remember the name of all these criteria, and you have to remember what is present in preterm baby and what is present in term baby. But you don't have to remember all the criteria, because if you have to assess the gestational age from Ballard scoring, Ballard score card will be provided, and there you have to indicate which criteria is there, and then the scoring, and from the scoring you have to assess the exact gestational age. Now, coming to neuromuscular criteria. In neuromuscular criteria, there are 6 criteria. Among these 6 criteria, 5 is to assess the tone of the newborn. Remember, tone of the preterm baby is less and term baby is more. Only one criteria, that is the square window, is to assess the joint flexibility. Joint flexibility is more in term baby and less in preterm baby. Remember, in these 6 criteria, first criteria is posture, which you can observe from inspection only. For rest 5 criteria assessment, you have to touch the baby. And there are 3 criteria from upper extremity, that is square window, skirt sign, and arm recoil, and 2 criteria in the lower extremity, that is popliteal angle and heel to ear. Now coming to physical criteria. In physical criteria, first is skin. In preterm baby, skin will be thin and visible vein will be there, and in term baby, skin will be thick. Then lanugo hair. Lanugo hair is present in less amount in the preterm baby, then it grows, and then again bald area appears in term babies. Then plantar surface. In term baby, there are deep sole creases, but in preterm baby, very few creases are there, or there may be no creases at all. Then breast bud. Breast bud is barely perceptible in preterm baby, and in term baby, it is well perceptible. Now, eyes and ears. Eye sign are important only for very preterm baby, and the leads are fused here. Otherwise, eye sign is not important after that gestational age. You have to observe for the ear recoil. In preterm baby, there is slow recoil. In term baby, there is ready recoil. Then genitalia for male and female. In male, scrotal rugosity will be there and scrotum will be pigmented in term baby. In preterm baby, scrotal rugosity will be less. It will be smooth and pink. In female baby, in term, labia majora will cover the labia minora, but in preterm baby, labia minora will be exposed. So, by this way, we can assess the gestational age. Now, reflex part will be covered by Dr. Somosri. Somosri, please. Somosri.
Hello. Good afternoon. Take reflex. So, first we have to maintain the asepsis, that is hand washing. Next, the baby's vital should be stable, and for all the examination, we should keep in mind that the head of the baby should be kept in midline, and we should examine the baby in between feeds preferably, and the baby should be examined in the sleep state 3 and 4. So in our PowerPoint, we have given the behavioral state or state of sleep of newborn. So state 3 and 4 are the ideal states. So if you can't remember the all states by all the points, you don't have to remember. But state 5 is vigorously crying baby, means the baby may remain the eyes closed or open, doesn't matter, but vigorously moving, there is gross movement in all the joints and very agitated and having irregular respiration just because the baby is vigorously crying. Just in contrast, the state 1, that is a deep sleep, the baby is totally calm and quiet and there is no gross body movement but respiration is regular, and also there is no eye movement. In the state 2, you have to keep in mind, because it is rapid eye movement sleep, REM sleep. As we all know that in REM sleep, that respiration will be irregular, and although the eye will remain closed, but there will be some flickering of eye movement, and there will be no gross body movement, but there will be some flickering of finger movement. So that is the state 2. So all these three sleep state we have to avoid. So in between the state 3 and 4, that is calm and quiet baby, but no gross movement, some smooth uniform flickering movement in fingers, toes, that is allowed. But it should be calm and quiet baby in between sleep, preferably with midline, because the center of the reflex is at the base table. So there are some components. That is, the first component is a hand opening. It comes at 28 weeks of gestation in utero. Then abduction and extension of the shoulder joint. It comes at 32 weeks. Then extension of elbow joint, that comes at 34 to 35 weeks. Then adduction and embracing of the both arms around the chest, that comes at 37 weeks. And so the total component gets matured at 37 to 38 weeks. So if the baby is calm but showing only first two components, there is no inward movement, then certainly it is incomplete mode. So you have to assess the components as per gestation always. If you are just observing a 32-weeker preterm and the baby is showing only the outward movement, no embracing is there, then it is not abnormal, it is gestation appropriate. Now, you should remember that when the Moro reference should disappear. So, it is the corrected gestation, that is corrected age, that is by 4 months, 3 to 4 months, the Moro's reference get disappeared. But if it is persisting till 6 months of age, again corrected gestation 6 months of age, then it is certainly abnormal and it is giving hints that probably the baby in near future will develop cerebral palsy. So why it does happen? Because if there is some cerebral insult in form of hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, or there is bilirubin encephalopathy, or some form of any severe insult due to meningitis, intracerebral bleed, some form of cerebral insult, then it will give rise to this abnormal Moro, abnormal persistence of Moro. Sometimes it is called what is unilateral Moro. Unilateral Moro means all the components are seen in one side, but the other arms are not showing any type of movement. Why it happens? Because it may happen if there is clavicular fracture, fractured humerus, Orb's palsy, that is brachial palsy, then septic arthritis, any pain in the hand, like there is cannula in the hand, there is phlebitis, baby is not trying to move that hand, and also very rarely monoplegia or hemiplegia is there in that hand. So it will show asymmetrical Moro or unilateral Moro. Next, if the the moro is depressed. Moro depressed means the baby is again incomplete moro or depressed moro, that the baby is not showing. I have already told that is uh, uh, telling that there is some insult in the brain. Another thing is associated moro, means all components are there, but there may not be, the last component may not be there, that is adduction, embracing may not be smooth and uniform. Rather, there may be grimacing of the face and uprolling of the eyeball, and also some shrill cry can be associated with this. So it is called associated moro. Again, it is giving the hints that the baby is having some cerebral insult. You can get it typically in associated moro. You can get typically in bilirubin encephalopathy or carnicterus. Now, how to elicit this? So, probably have seen the videos that we have shared. So, you have to hold the baby, and you have to, the angle should be 45 degrees. So, you have to stretch the neck should fall by around there should be an angle of 45 degrees, so that the stretch receptor of the neck gets stimulated. So the receptor of what this reflex is at neck, stretch receptor. If it gets stimulated, then it will show all the components. You should not get confused with this moro and startle. So what happens? Startle reflex comes for a term baby only, 37, 38 peak onward, and it will show only the outward movement. There will be no adduction or embracing component, and it will always be associated with some sudden noise. And that startle response is not associated with any neck movement. That is, it is not associated with this stretch receptor. So you have to differentiate between these two. It is moro and startle are completely different. Now come to another reflex that is called rooting and sucking. So these two reflexes gets rooting comes earlier at around 28 weeks. Sucking comes at 32 weeks. Both gets well established by 34 weeks, and at 34 week rooting and sucking gets coordinated. And it persists up to 4 to 6 months. Again, if it is persisting beyond 6 months, then it is something abnormal. And if it is not present at all, then again it is abnormal. If these are not present, then we have to establish feed in some other means like garbage feeding or some surgical intervention like gastrostomy, duodenostomy, jejunostomy to be done to introduce feed. So how it can be elicited? It is elicited if we have to introduce the fingertips in the cheek, or you can apply the mother's nipple also in the cheek of the baby, and then the baby will slowly turn the face towards the nipple, and first the face, then head, and then tongue will move towards that stimulus, and then ultimately the mouth will open and will try to grasp the part with which you are stimulating, and ultimately at last the baby will develop sucking. So it is just the forerunner of sucking. So you can do with the help of the mother also. So you can do it with your finger also, and you can ask the mother also to touch the cheek with the nipple. So this is another thing. Again, if it persists beyond 6 months, it is an early indicator of cerebral palsy, bilirubin encephalopathy, etc. Now comes to the other reflex, that is asymmetric tonic neck reflex. It is called that this reflex gets well observed and elicited. Uh, if you observe one baby that has turned his face to the other side, then automatically the newborn should show a TNR provided the baby is 35 weeks, because this reflex comes at around 35 weeks and get well established by another 4 weeks. Means at around 39 to 40 weeks, that is at total full term gestation, it gets well mature, and it again persists till 4 to 6 months. If it persists beyond 4 to 6 months, then the baby will not be able to perform prone to supine and supine to prone developmental milestones. Because if you are turning the face towards one side, then the arm and the leg on that side will get extended, and the occiput is the other side at which the occiput is there, that part gets flexed. So it means the baby is giving automatic protection to herself or himself, so that the baby should not get fall. So it is the one type of defense reaction. So if it is normal. But if it persists beyond 4 to 6 months, then TNR will prevent the baby to roll over. So baby will never be able to do prone to supine, supine to prone, which is an early indicator of cerebral palsy. So you have to start some physiotherapy. You have to do some RD stimulation again, so that the baby will lead the normal life. So that's all. So I am not telling about all the reflex. These are the common reflex, and sometimes you are asked to show only one reflex. So it is very easy to show the hair sucking. Yes.
Yes.
Anyone asking something?
Asking something?
Okay, sometimes it is
Sometimes
called
it is called
reflex or primitive reflex are same or not. So sometimes in MCQ you are asked that name some reflexes which are not primitive reflex. It means there are some primitive reflex which appears and should get disappear as a developmental milestone comes appears, but it is not gets appeared by first 28 days of life. So these are the reflex which gets appeared beyond 28 days of life. So those are parachute reflex. So those comes by 7 to 9 months. STNR, that is symmetric tonic neck reflex, and Landau. So neonatal reflex and primitive reflex are not same. Okay. So that's it from my side. Any query? Any query you can put in the chat box.
If you don't have any query, then we will end the meeting now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Arijit, is it okay?
Yes. Another question is when do we check for temperature and abdominal skin color? So what we have discussed, it is mainly for a well-appearing baby. If there is any life-threatening condition or anything to intervene, and for any sick baby, we have to look for the danger sign as we have mentioned. And among these features are there. That is abdominal skin temperature and color. Any question?
Associated Moro, I already told associated Moro that total Moro reflex, that is opening of the hand, abduction, extension of the shoulder joint, extension of the elbow joint, then adduction, embracing of the whole arm towards the chest, and thereafter there will be an abnormal thing, that is the grimacing of the face. Means the baby is grimacing, you should know now, that is there is the baby actually looks like baby is in extreme pain. So grimacing of the face and uprolling of the eyeball. So that is the thing that is showing that exaggerated Moro. And there may not be any smooth adduction embracing. So it will be totally jerky, totally very, what should I say, not uniform movement of the all components, followed by grimacing and uprolling of the eyeball. So that is called the exaggerated Moro. Indicates that hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy or cardiac terror, some form of insult that is going to be the risk factor for the future cerebral palsy.
Okay. So no more question. We are ending this discussion now. Thank you.